Kamaru Usman on live broadcast after UFC 261 face-off in very interested conversation with JD Sport, where he talks about George Masvidal not in his level and how he feels unlike Mike Tyson and how
My
he would
man,
love to fight
What's
Georges
up,
St Pierre.
bruv? How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be talking to an MMA legend right now.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Pleasure is mine.
100%. Well, we know you've got a huge fight coming up Saturday night. Masvidal, the rematch. There seems to be a bit of bad blood, more from his side, I guess. Have you noticed that?
Yes, of course. It's part of the game. When you're taking on challengers, each one has to create something in their mind to get them that extra motivation in order to be able to compete with you. But I'm the champion. I've been there, I've done that. I'm sitting on top of the mountain and I'm waiting for all these guys to come up and try to challenge me and take what I've worked too hard for.
100%. And I know you had that fight before. When did you know that when did this rematch come into your head and you knew that it was going to be, signed, sealed, delivered on paper? This is the date.
It was right after my last fight. I just after that first fight with him, I didn't like the way I put my hands on him. I needed to do more. I needed to really put it in his mind and in his head that there's levels, and he's not on my level. I needed to put that in his head. And so after the last fight, of course they wanted me to wait for a long time before fighting again, and I said, I'm healthy. Let's give the people what they want. The people want me to give him a full camp and really put my hands on him a particular way. It's time to give the people what they want.
So have you been working on specific, because it was kind of short notice last time, have you been working on specific things, to Masvidal in camp, and how is that camp going?
No, I wouldn't say specific things, because the thing with me, what makes me who I am is that I work on everything. I'm a well-rounded fighter. I can mix it up and I can do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do. And so, it's not a particular thing that I work on. There's a lot of guys who work on one particular skill and they're very good at that skill, but those guys are limited. I don't want to be limited. I'm not in a box. I am the box.
For sure. And this is a question that I like to ask all of our boxing guys, all of our MMA guys. Well, what do you think is your biggest achievement within the octagon?
My biggest achievement within the octagon, I would say, it was my first title defense. Really breaking that kid's jaw, and I didn't do it just for myself or my family. I did it for the world. I think the world really wanted me to go out there and put hands on that kid the proper way, and that's the proper way that you finish it, which is what I aim to do to this next guy.
I know there was a lot of people watching that fight willing you on, whether they liked you before or whether they liked you after. At the time, you was the guy.
Yes, absolutely. And the same thing here. This guy is kind of built himself into that, and yes, it's my responsibility to go out there and do it for the people.
For sure. And following on from that previous question is what is your greatest achievement outside of the octagon, would you say? I know it's a tough one.
My greatest achievement outside of the octagon, I think, I would say my daughter. It's different. I feel soft even talking about it, but I was always rah, we work hard and we live in the gym and become a fighter and this and that. I was always that guy. Didn't have a soft side really. And then my daughter came, and you realize I can't be rah. If I'm go rah and she makes the face and she starts to cry, I'm like, oh, okay. Now I have to build that soft side. So I would say definitely my daughter. She's taught me so much, and absolutely the greatest achievement outside.
For sure. We're talking about teaching you a lot of things. Did you grow up with an MMA icon or a fight sports icon in general? Was there one person or was it a group?
No, I think it was just, of course, when growing up as a boy, my father always loved to watch Mike Tyson
Yeah.
and loved to watch Tyson fights. And so when Tyson fights, it's an event in our house each and every day,
Right.
each and every time he fights. And I got to understand and watch, and of course, everybody loved the boxing. And it's crazy now that I'm actually friends with Mike Tyson. It's crazy to think. I'm like, man, I used to watch this guy when I was a kid.
Grew up on this guy.
Yeah, but I would say, yeah, just watching Mike Tyson. I was always a fan of boxing. I was always a fan of fighting, but I never dreamed that I would be fighting, professionally. It's just I let wrestling take me naturally to the fight world, and now I'm a fighter.
100%. And we spoke about your MMA icon, but in life, I mean, you mentioned your daughter before, but is there anyone else who you portrayed as an icon or you looked up to as an icon when you were growing up?
Yes, I would say, looking at through life and through history, I would say, it's crazy, but I would say on both ends of the spectrum, Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, I think both were icons that you can always, I don't care where you are in life, you could always take some lessons from their teachings through life. And, of course, there's sports figures that I love their mentalities, like, Michael Jordan or Muhammad Ali. These are guys that I love their mentality and how they approached sports. But as far as icon, I think, Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King were two of the greatest that I look up to.
1,000%. And moving on from that is the question that I like to ask is, what would you, when it's all said and done and you're retired, what would you most like to be remembered for? What's the one phrase that people would say when they go, Kamaru Usman, and then they will say this?
Oh, that's a good one. I would say I'm like a Sour Pouch. I don't know if you guys have that in the UK. I'm like Sour Pouch Kids. It's sour at first, but it's sweet on the inside. So I have two layers. Okay. I would say I want to be remembered for being who I am. Yeah. And not folding under pressure to all the pressures of people wanting me to talk mad trash and be outside myself. No, I am who I am because I like to be that role model. I like to be that guy that kids, like I grew up looking at my icons, that kids look up to and say, I want to do it properly. I don't want to do it because of now everyone's looking for clout and things of this nature. I don't necessarily want to be known for that. Like, I did it my way and I was just true to myself. But also, on the sour side, I need them to understand that he was a killer. Like he was a savage. He was a savage, but a savage, nice guy. Yes.
Okay. I like where you went with that. You got both sides of the fence.
Yes, nice. I've got both.
Exactly. So these are some of the questions that we've been sent in from our JD fans, obviously huge fans of you. And the first one of those is, apart from your own fight, what fight this year are you most looking forward to?
This year, I would say, I would say two. One is the one that's happening right before my fight, and that is my teammate Rose Namajunas facing Jean Weili. I mean, you talk about just killer women fights. I don't know how people feel about fights, women fights all across the world, but this is a fight that you can't miss. This is that fight that you just like, wow, these are the absolute best. They're killers, and you have to watch that. And of course, any future Francis Ngannou fight. If Francis Ngannou is fighting, I'm buying that pay-per-view for sure.
He's been calling out Tyson Fury. Do you think that will ever happen?
I think it should. I think it could, and I think it definitely should, because I think Francis hits harder than anyone in the world right now, even boxers. But it's a different sport. It's a different game when you've got boxing gloves on and you're fighting a guy that knows how to roll his shoulders and see punches coming. So that's a big one that I would love to see. I don't think there's anybody in the world who wouldn't watch that fight.
For sure. And talking of Tyson Fury, I'm sure you've heard Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. That's happening. That's another another Nigerian out there, another Nigerian champion.
Yes, they say it's happening.
Guess who you're going to go for, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know where I'm sitting. You know where I'm sitting at. You know which table I'm sitting at. My thing is, I want to know if it's happening. That's the problem that I have with boxing now is there's all these different sanctioning bodies and everybody just definitely likes to keep their fighters to themselves. No, I want to see these fighters bang. I want to see the best fight the best. Like, this is a fight that should have happened for a long time. Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. That fight should happen for sure. But I gotta go with my Nigerian UK brother Anthony Joshua. I like Tyson Fury though. But I gotta go with my Nigerian brother.
100%. And the next question I have: if you could fight any MMA fighter throughout the years, from the birth of the sport to now, who would you want to fight apart from your current opponent?
Two of them, Georges St Pierre and Matt Hughes, and a big reason is because now the competitor in me is I want to these are the two other guys that I consider some of the greatest ever. For sure. And the competitor in me wants to let them know that I'm number one. I'm the top.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Those are the two guys that definitely I would love to compete against, just to put the stamp on it. Like, I'm the best.
Make it official.
Ever. Yes, definitely.
100%. And the final question is, could you rank the top 5 MMA fighters you want to fight next? I know 5 is a lot, but who's on that list?
That I want to fight next. It's crazy. It's hard because I already ran through the division already. I already did work with all these guys, but I would say the top 5, if I had to choose anybody that I would like to fight: Georges St Pierre, Leon Edwards, Colby Covington. Oh. Who else is making their rise up? I would say, what's his name?
Like a Darren Till situation, who knows?
Darren Till. If he comes back down to welterweight, for sure I would fight Darren Till. That's a fight that was definitely supposed to happen on the way up, but unfortunately it didn't get to happen because he had some weight issues and he was just growing too much for that weight class, so he went up. But yes, definitely Darren Till if he's willing to come back down. And I'm gonna throw another one in the mix that's just not there, because he's at the weight class above. But I would say Robert Whitaker.
Okay, yeah, strong dude.
Strong dude. That's the 5, and then I'm out.
All right, yeah, cool. That 5 fights, that's enough. You solidified. You run through the division. You solidified. It's sweet. Cool, my man. Well, good luck at UFC 261. You know what I mean? It was a blessing chatting to you, man, and enjoy.
Thank you, my man.